as my video title suggests, it says fantastic roller coasters that disappoint. Well, you might be wondering, what does that actually mean? Well, I consider that these roller coasters I'm going to talk about are critically acclaimed with coaster enthusiasts, but might not live up to the hype with the general public, or actually the park that built them might be disappointed with how they've turned out for various reasons. Some of these attractions might have never lived up to the ride capacity that they were expecting, have multiple maintenance issues, keep breaking down constantly, never hit that target audience that the park was reaching for. Well, with that said, let's get to my list. Steel Curtain, located at Kennywood Park, built by S&S Sansai Technologies, opened in 2019. Let's just say the jury is still out on this one. Steel Curtain opened in 2019 to mostly rave reviews, but has had some pitfalls along the way. The ride has had a lot of maintenance issues going down for long extended periods of time. As you all might know, this roller coaster never opened in 2020. Some of that was because of the pandemic, but also other issues were maintenance problems and also disputes with the ride manufacturer. Here in 2021, the ride was supposed to open with the new year, and it did not. It actually didn't open for a couple more weeks. With that said, the coaster is now open, but it's also only operating with one train because they're having issues with the other coaster train. So as I said, the jury is still out on this roller coaster, but if the problems keep persisting as they are, this coaster will be a prime candidate for today's list. Maverick, located at Cedar Point, built by Intimate Amusement Rides, opened in 2007. This roller coaster was delayed by a few weeks from its opening date because the ride layout proved to be too intense. There used to be a barrel roll, zero-G roll located after the second launch, which proved to be too intense for the car train and had to be removed. Beyond that, this coaster has also had other many issues that have arrived. The ride will go down periodically throughout the day, sometimes for the entire day, sometimes for part of the day, which can be very frustrating for those who want to ride this coaster. Maverick is probably considered one of the best roller coasters at Cedar Point. Some claim it to be number one, while others would dare to say it's at least in their top 3. Obviously, when Cedar Point built this roller coaster, they weren't expecting to have this many problems with the ride, but here they are about 13-14 years later, and Maverick still has some issues, though it has improved over time. If the park could go back in time, would they rebuild this coaster? I really don't know the answer to that question, but I do know that Maverick is a very well-received roller coaster amongst coaster enthusiasts and the general public. Skyrush, located at Hershey Park, built by Intimate Amusement Rides, opened in 2012. This is a roller coaster that is split amongst coaster enthusiasts. There are many that claim to be the best roller coaster in the world, while others dislike this attraction. When Hershey Park decided to move forward with Skyrush, they were hoping for a great hypercoaster that would have a wide range of audience. Well, the ride has proven to be very intense, thus limiting the amount of people that actually want to ride this coaster. I wouldn't say that this roller coaster is too intense that it scares away everybody, but it's definitely created a niche audience of those who really like this roller coaster and really don't like the roller coaster. Obviously, the main reason why some dislike this coaster is because of the bad restraints. Obviously, many have talked about the ride restraints in the past. I mean, I've talked about this in the past. The restraints are not good. They crush your thighs. It's just not comfortable overall. The roller coaster itself really delivers on the airtime, and I personally still think it delivers some of the strongest ejector airtime that you'll ever experience on a roller coaster. However, with its overly intense layout and bad restraints, this roller coaster, as far as I'm concerned, has probably been a disappointment to Hershey Park. Steel Vengeance, located at Cedar Point, built by Rocky Mountain Construction, opened in 2018. Okay, I know, why is Steel Vengeance on this list? Well, let me explain. Steel Vengeance is arguably one of the best roller coasters on the planet. The ride delivers a ton of airtime. It's just a great layout loaded with action non-stop. Well, unfortunately, the ride itself has had a little hiccups along the way. This roller coaster is supposed to function very efficiently with 3 trains, which that hasn't really proven to be the case yet. If they ever do have 3 trains on the track, it always stacks and it never runs the way it should. Cedar Point was hoping that Steel Vengeance would have a better ride capacity than it currently does, because this ride has some of the longest lines in the park. Now, to that extent, is this roller coaster been a huge disappointment? No, not really, but at the same time, it also hasn't delivered in that aspect that I know the park was looking for. I also think this is the reason why we haven't seen any more projects by Rocky Mountain Construction come to any of the Cedar Fair parks. Cedar Fair loves their high-capacity, reliable roller coasters, which is why we do see them going with B&M on a lot of their projects. Regardless if you think this ride is a disappointment in that kind of technical level or not, Steel Vengeance is still a fantastic roller coaster and it's loved by everyone who rides the coaster. Okay, sticking around at the same park, we come to Top Thrill Dragster. Built by Intimate Amusement Rides, opened in 2003. Here's another roller coaster that blew the audience away, but honestly has had so many issues that it must be a headache to the park. The ride constantly breaks down, sometimes for long extended periods of time, or some other times just for a couple hours. The ride is also very finicky with the weather. The wind can keep this ride from operating for days on end. I couldn't tell you how many times I've been to Cedar Point and the roller coaster's down due to weather. Back to maintenance issues, this ride has had some serious problems with it that have actually kept the roller coaster down for months. From what I've heard, if the park was actually able to go back in time, they would not have built Top Thrill Dragster, which obviously would be a disappointment because this ride is very popular with the general public and coaster enthusiasts alike. Intamin pushed the boundaries with Top Thrill Dragster, again proving it to be one of the best coasters at Cedar Point, but also at the same time being a technical nightmare. Speaking of technical nightmares, Kingda Ka, located at Six Flags Great Adventure, built by Intamin, opened in 2005. Pretty much everything that I've said about Top Thrill Dragster could be said about Kingda Ka. In its opening year, the roller coaster went down for months after frying its hydraulic motor. The ride might be operating better today, but it definitely has its moments where it can go down for an unspecified period of time. Kingda Ka, which though I would say is not as popular as Top Thrill Dragster, is still a roller coaster that delivers and the general public love this ride. However, just because the general public loves the ride, it doesn't mean that the ride is actually financially feasible to operate. This is probably one of their most expensive attractions to operate at Six Flags Great Adventure. Now, the park will want to continue operating this roller coaster because it is the tallest roller coaster in the world and also the fastest roller coaster in the United States. It's unfortunate that Intamin has never really been able to solidify this hydraulic launch concept. I would love to see more of these roller coasters as the launch is very intense and very exciting. However, with its unreliability, I assume that this technology has been put to rest. Intimidator 305, located at King's Dominion, built by Intimate Amusement Rides, opened in 2010. Well, Intimidator 305, right after its opening, guests realized how intense this roller coaster is. In fact, this ride proved to be too intense as guests would actually black out during the ride's first intense, low-to-the-ground 270-degree turn. During the following off-season, the manufacturer had to come in and reprofile that first turn to make the ride more comfortable for guests. However, the damage was practically already done as this roller coaster is one of the least popular attractions in the park. With that said, many coaster enthusiasts highly rank Intimidator 305. Obviously, the coaster is very intense, and it delivers an experience you just can't get on any other roller coaster. Unless you're an adrenaline junkie, I don't think you'll be running back into line for I-305 anytime soon. Lightning Rod, located at Dollywood, built by Rocky Mountain Construction, opened in 2016. This is probably the most notorious roller coaster on today's list. This roller coaster has had many issues since its opening in 2016. In fact, its first year of operation, I would say the ride barely operated it more than it was actually closed. The manufacturer has been doing a lot of changes to this ride, trying to improve its reliability, but unfortunately, even to today, the ride is still not living up to the original hype that was promised. Similar to a Steel Vengeance, Lightning Rod is also considered to be one of the best roller coasters on the planet, and it's also very much liked by coaster enthusiasts and the general public. However, for your star attraction at Dollywood, it's a disappointment that this ride usually operates with one train and can constantly break down throughout the day. There are coaster enthusiasts that have been actively trying to get to Dollywood when the roller coaster was open back in its first couple years in operation, but were only greeted to ride closed signs. Now, I do say that the ride operates efficiently enough that chances are if you visit Dollywood, you'll probably be able to get a ride on Lightning Rod, but yet again, it just doesn't live up to what they were hoping for. I've also featured this roller coaster in a recent video, roller coasters that could be gone in 10 years. If the ride can never live up to its potential, Dollywood just simply might have to pull the plug on Lightning Rod. Well, that wraps up my list of fantastic roller coasters that disappoint. What do you think about this list? Were there some roller coasters on here that you don't think deserve to be here, or do you think there's other roller coasters out there that definitely disappoint that are also fantastic roller coasters? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please click that like button and subscribe. That way you can continue to get great content brought to you by Xtreme Thrills.